Welcome everyone. Today is May 21st, and as of yesterday, 4th Gen Wi-Fi has been discontinued. 4th Gen Wi-Fi was what this channel was originally founded on, and I still consider it to be the core content of the channel, despite many other things happening. But with this closure, I felt like this was a great time to take a moment for a retrospective on 4th Gen Wi-Fi, on this channel, on my experience with Pokemon as a whole, my experience with YouTube as a whole. And this video was mostly inspired by a good friend of mine, Diamond Brother, Makar Locomotive, who has now officially retired from competitive Pokemon play. And he had a video announcing that, and he had a great look back at the story of 4th Gen, and also his own personal story. And I felt like he did a really good job of recapping the 4th Gen story, so I'm not going to try to touch on that. I'd probably just end up repeating most of the stuff he said. So certainly, if you feel the need to go back and look at that, that link will be in the description. This video is mostly going to be me rambling about a lot of stuff. I'll probably try to break it into segments. If you want to go back and rewatch this video later, those timestamps will be in the description. But I have no idea how long this is actually going to run. Since it's me rambling, it's probably going to be closer to an hour. But anyway. So in this video, I guess for a brief roadmap, I'm just going to recap my experiences with Pokemon, and at some point that will segue into the YouTube channel and where it's been. We're going to hit some of the high points and look at some of the stuff we've done, and also at the end where we're going, which is oh yeah, we definitely have some 4th Gen stuff planned, and of course some 6th Gen stuff as well. But more on that later. So with that, let's get started. And I guess there's nothing too crazy about the start of my Pokemon career, or whatever you want to call it. I always feel weird calling it a career because it's very much not a job, But anyway, I started my Pokemon journey. That's a better word. So it starts with Red and Blue. I was in, I believe, 6th grade when Red and Blue came out. So this is when Pokemon, of course, was at its height. The trading card game was always really big. When I first got the trading cards, I was like, I know a story a lot of people have is, oh, I didn't know you could play a game with it. My story was, I got a theme deck, this is a game I want to play, I don't care about collecting. So, I definitely have a different experience as far as that goes from a lot of people. I have never cared about collecting the Pokemon cards whatsoever. It's always been a game for me. And likewise, I've never really cared that much about completing the Pokedex. Up until X and Y when I got the Shiny Charm, because there's actually a tangible reward for it. The only time I'd ever done it was on Red and Blue, when there were only 150 to catch. But anyway, so yeah, my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Blue. It is the game that made me get a Game Boy Color. Turquoise Game Boy Color, I'm sure it's around here somewhere. And that was great. 2001 rolls around, 7th, 8th grade, whichever it is. Gold and Silver come out, I get Silver. I always skip, I tended to prefer the secondary version, so Blue, Silver, later on Sapphire, and as well as the 3rd version. I didn't get Gold version until a few years ago, and I still do not have Red version. So, yeah, I tended to buck the red colors. Of course, Blue, as you can guess, is my favorite color. So, that's, yeah. Yeah, so... that's very common. A lot of people were into Pokemon in those days. But the big divide, I think, came after the end of 2nd Gen. This is when they restructured the Pokemon data structure. They changed DVs into IVs. DVs into IVs. EVs came from stat experience, so basically you could no longer have 31 all. EVs, of course, anyone who plays competitive today knows that EVs are a major addition to the game. I still attest that 3rd Gen added the most important content to the series out of anything outside 1st Gen actually making the series. Without EVs and abilities, we wouldn't have nearly the degree of customization that we do today. But anyway, 3rd Gen was the time. Of course, with the start of 3rd Gen, no one really cared, nor was it really even known. But yeah, 3rd Gen, I think, was where a lot of people dropped it. Of course, the mass media stopped covering Pokemon as much. And, you couldn't trade that awesome level 100 Charizard that Oak gave you in Red version into Ruby and Sapphire, so a lot of people just said, I quit. However, that just was not the case for me. I just kept on charging forward and never really stopped. With the card game, As that kind of dried up, the card game's a little bit of a different animal. You kind of need people to play it with in order to really make it worthwhile. So I did kind of have to stop intermittently on that, and I've kind of been in and out of that, but never really stopped loving the card game. Sometimes I never had anyone to play with, so there was little point. But anyway, so one big thing that 3rd Gen did do for me, in fact, I think the 3rd Gen chasm, and really I wanted this to happen again with 6th Gen, unfortunately it did not. Because of that, 2nd Gen and 1st Gen, oh wow, I hacked so much. Not even, obviously there was no competitive stuff back then, but just silly things like Dragon Rage on Yanma is the one I always point to. And a lot of people look back on Gold and Silver and they have great memories of that game, and I just kind of don't. I just kind of made a mockery of the game itself and just really showed it no respect. And 3rd Gen, the thing I have, the Brain Boy, oh, that was the stuff back then. You didn't have to type in codes, you can just move the whatever. Anyway, so that's actually the main reason that I went so anti-hacking after 3rd Gen came out, is it just ruined 2nd Gen for me, and I just felt like I disrespected the game so much. And yeah, that's another thing this channel is known for, is voice cracks. Someone should probably keep a tally of the number of times we're going to have a voice crack in this video. Also keep a track of the number of trains that are going to come by. That's been another thing that's been pretty popular on this channel as of late, and I'm not going to even attempt to edit those out. Attempt to, nice. Anyway, so yeah, that's the basis of my anti-hacking stance, and yeah, so that's everything pre 2007, I guess. Towards the end of 3rd Gen, or around the time of Fire Red Leaf Green, I did actually learn about EVs and did start training up a competitive team. Now, not that I really had anyone to play, but things like Coliseum, the Mountain Battle, that sort of thing. I thought, this would be nice to actually have a team, a proper team EV'd and all this stuff to actually conquer this sucker. And in fact, that is what I did. So even though there was no one really to play on Wi-Fi and whatnot, because there was no Wi-Fi, I still felt the need to EV train a team. At the time, IVs were a little bit out of the league. IV breeding was not exactly an easy thing back then. It's so much easier today, of course. But anyway, that wraps up everything up until 2007, I guess. And 2007, of course, Diamond and Pearl launched on April 22nd. And let's see, that was Game Boy Advance. Yes, I had Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Advance SP. Because I always enjoyed being able to trade with myself. 1st Gen and 2nd Gen, I only had the one Game Boy Color, and I had multiple games. I could not trade Pokemon between them. It was very frustrating. So, and I didn't really have. I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers or anything to have a DS or whatever else to Oh, can I borrow your Game Boy Color for a second so I can trade this thing over? I did not have that. So, anyway. So with the Game Boy Advance, I did get a GBA and a GBA SP, and in fact I've been playing them a little bit tonight, breeding on Emerald for stuff, but yeah, anyway, so with the DS coming out, I know, like, I kind of want to get a second DS because I want to be able to trade. I'm going to get Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl was actually the first time I had ever gotten both games at the same time, and in fact I think that was the first time I've ever gotten both of a paired, except for, I got Fire Red and Leaf Green. But as far as the introduction to a gen, that was the first time, and I just made that decision. I want both. So, yeah, so I was thinking about getting a second DS, and as I don't quite remember how this happened, because I know I picked the game up on a Sunday, and I know the game came out on a Sunday, but anyway, somehow GameStop had failed to hold my pre-order. I don't know how this happened. But anyway, despite Diamond being the top build game, you would expect that would be the one that would sell out first. They still had Diamond, but they were out of Pearl temporarily, so I was miffed. I knew I wanted Diamond because, for the first time, I wanted Diamond to be the top build game, to be my main file. In the past, it had always been Blue, Silver, Sapphire, the blue/silver colors, as I like to call them. I tend to prefer those to red and gold. So, for the first time, I was going to have the top build game be my main file, which was Diamond, which was Blue. And so I wanted to start on Pearl first, because I wanted to establish a game on Pearl, play through Diamond a few times to get the exclusive legendary Dialga, and then be able to trade all those Dialgas over to Pearl, and then establish a final Diamond file, and then port them over, and then I can restart Pearl and get as many Palkias or whatever as I want. I've pretty much done that with every game since, at least I did with X and Y. But anyway, so some funny things turned out. So as a result of that, I think I decided I was moving in, or roommates at college now. I started college in fall 2006, so this was my spring freshman semester when Diamond and Pearl came out. And my best friend from high school went to the same college as me. So first semester we decided, or first year we decided we wanted to live in separate dorms. But second year we decided, we'll room together. So I decided, you know what, it's got to be silly for me to have two DSs and him to not have one. So he's always been a little bit on the poor side. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna get him one, and that way we can both enjoy it. And since we're gonna be living a room apart from each other, if we need to trade back and forth between each other, we can. That option is gonna be there, which was something I never really had, and now I will. So anyway, so some other stuff happens. I go to Toys R Us to pick up the copy of Pearl because I really wanted to start playing Pearl that night, and indeed I did. Later on, I would go back and get the Pearl from GameStop, and that would be the copy that I gave to my friend. But anyway, so that's kind of how 4th Gen started out for me. Just wanted someone else to be able to play it along with me, and it was great. So yeah, as I mentioned, as a result of EV training and whatnot in 3rd, for Mountain Battle and whatnot, I kind of had a leg up on a lot of people. I already knew EV training. I just needed to know, okay, which things give which EVs, and I was pretty much set to go. Still didn't do that much IV breeding. I started into it a little bit, and of course it continued as time went on. Mostly the people I played were people from my old message board, the Zelda Forum Council, of which the only people who really remain now are myself, Psych180. You may have seen him comment on a lot of videos. We go way back to at least 2001. And a couple of other people who you probably have never seen. But anyway, I guess the next most important event for 4th Gen is September 29th, when, speaking of events, the Manaphy event happens at Toys R Us. And this is actually the start of something really big, and this is where I end up deleting my first Pearl file. I just trade over all the pokes to Diamond. The event is supposed to run, I believe, from noon to 3. I discover that the nature, you can soft reset for it. That was what I wanted to make sure. This was for a Manaphy. And so, yeah, I discover that you can soft reset for it, and I get it with both my games, and I realize, if I restart, I think I can get another one. So I kind of hang around the Toys R Us for a little bit, and once 3 o'clock rolls around, of course, the employees are pretty incompetent and don't cut the signal off at 3 like they're supposed to. So I run out to my car and quickly trade over anything that I absolutely have to keep, and then a bid a fond farewell to my first ever Pearl file, and it gets used as the file that I'm just going to play through the Pokedex, and then pick up that Manaphy and trade the Manaphy over. I happened, for some reason, I think my friend's DS that I got for him, he wanted me to pick one up for him too, so I happened to have 2 DSs on hand. And so that's what we did. We traded over, and just kept getting more and more Manaphys. I think I only ended up getting about 7. The story gets a little bit humorous. At some point, I start getting wary of wandering around the store, and I just hang out in the store's bathroom. And if I reach out the bathroom door, I can kind of still get the Wi-Fi signal. I know you guys are thinking, like, Kooper, you're absolutely bonkers and off your chain, and indeed I was. So that was the day I adopted the title of Event Tycoon. Basically mining events. It got a lot easier as time went on. That noon to 3 window was very much felt like an experimental thing, but I definitely made the most of it. I think I stayed there until the store closed at like 7 to 8 p.m. But anyway, it was the first time I'd ever heard of anyone having such an escapade and going to such silly measures to get more event Pokemon. But anyway, so that's how that played out, and that was pretty much it for 2007. Certainly there was a lot of Wi-Fi activity going around in 2007, but I, for the most part, just did not pay it any mind. So that moves us on into 2008. 2008, the first YouTube battle that I remember seeing was by Yuki Jaden Survives. I don't know if it was his Survives channel yet or not. But this is back when music was the norm. I distinctly remember the song. I don't remember the battle, or if it's probably not even up, but it was Namikaze Satellite. I just remember was the song that was used in the background, and I think he had a Lucario, and I just thought that was so cool, having a song, Lucario's fist is going like this. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. But for some reason, it did not stick with me. I just kind of dropped it right there, and didn't really pay it much mind beyond that. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. I just kind of went back to playing my friends from the message board, and just training up guys. I guess I kind of completely glossed over a very important detail, which was the Mega Man nicknames. Anyone who's watched most of my battles is probably aware that I do nicknames after the Robot Masters and other assorted characters from the Mega Man games. So I guess we'll take a hike back to pre-2007 to explain that. So basically, I had recently finished playing the GBA port of Mega Man and Bass. Yes, I know it's pronounced bass, but I still pronounce it Bass because I think that pronunciation sounds cooler. So I pick up my Trico. Ruby and Sapphire, I've never played the game before, or I've seen very, very little pre-game coverage of it. And so I just decided, this thing looks cool. I'll call it Bass or Bass, whatever. I'm not going to make a big deal of that. Hopefully you guys won't either. Because it looks cool. So that's fine. You know, start playing through the game. And then there's this chump named Wally. And he walks into the grass and he's, oh, what is that? It's got a helmet! It's got a helmet! It's got a helmet! And so I'm like, it's Mega Man! It's Mega Man! It's got a helmet, it's Mega Man. It's right? Not exactly the strongest connection, but oh, I made the connection right away. I've got a Trico named Bass. So as soon as I saw that, it's like, as soon as I got control of the character, oh, we're going back into 202? 102. Route 102? I think it's Route 102. It might be 103. And I gotta have one, so I stomp around for a while in the grass, and there we go. There's my first Ralts. I'm so excited, name it Mega Man, with no space in between, mind. And that's kind of how things got started. As it evolved, of course, Kirlia, Gardevoir, this has a dress. So it became more and more strange to me as it went on. Although I will say Gardevoir's Ruby and Sapphire sprite, the way it's looking, it's like on its side with the red whatever that is. I was like, oh, it's like totally a Mega Buster. I don't know. Whatever. And also in Coliseum, and I think possibly Battle Revolution 2, if you have Gardevoir use a indirect attack, it does kind of cross its arm like this, like it's firing a Buster. So I always felt like it was pretty alright. But anyway, that's how the Mega Man nicknames got started. So jumping back into 2008 now. So June 22nd is the next big event that happens. This is the GameStop Deoxys event, the one holding in Never Melt Ice. And this is actually the only event that I've ever done with someone else, which was my little cousin. So we just pull up the GameStop, actually behind the GameStop in some other parking lot, and we just kind of park it there all day. We come in, I think it was like Saturday and Sunday mornings over 2 weekends, and we just kind of park it there and spend all day mining Deoxys. It sounds pretty pathetic, and maybe it was. But it was something we'd also done the Darkrai event earlier, although that one was a little bit disappointing in that they would only cut the signal on. You had to ask for it to be cut on, and then they would immediately cut it off. So we were I was personally very depressed at that. Which after the Deoxys event at GameStop, and we did that, and I say this event is very notable. I forget which weekend it is, but I attribute the date to June 22nd, which I think was the first Sunday. My little cousin who was there doing the event with me, he was just begging me. I had a laptop and I had an air card. This was back when we didn't have very much widespread internet at my house or at my grandmother's or anything. So the internet was still like this mysterious thing, sort of in 2008. And so he was begging me, like, you know, I want to go in a Pokemon chat room. And I was like, You know, this was also kind of back when it's like, oh, chat rooms, those are, you know, shady people, you know, you get abducted, you know, predators and stuff. But anyway, so he was really on my case about it. I said, fine, when we get home, we just Googled Pokemon chat room, and I don't think it's the #1 result anymore, but at the time, the #1 result was a little place called VG Chat. It is still up, it is still running, and it had apparently had a Pokemon chat room in there for quite a while. Although before Diamond and Pearl came out, it was mostly like RP type stuff. But once Diamond and Pearl came out, obviously you don't have to RP it anymore. You can actually play online. So I guess because it had been there so long standing, that's why it was number one. But anyway, so he's on there. I think he's actually connected not on my laptop, but via the USB connector. And he's actually on it. That's right. That was the main thing. It was the only chat room that would load on the Wii, on the Wii browser. So that's why we used it. And oh my goodness, that was so awful. You had to click the text box with the Wiimote, and then, you know, click to enter your text. It was awful. But anyway, so eventually, someone's asking something about, I think it's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, one of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon 2 probably, which I happen to have a guide for. And you know, so they're really stumped on this, and I finally said, you know what, I'm gonna jump in and help. So I pull it up on my laptop and start helping people out with their questions, and I kind of get known for that, and just kind of get invested in this little chat room community. And so that's really the first time I branch out besides my old forum that I've been with since 2001. But anyway, so I guess the most important thing that happens from this is a guy named MTG Xerxes shows up. Now, I've since found out that it was indeed an imposter who was just trying to, I think he was asking people for power items or something like that. But anyway, someone says, "Are you the MTG Xerxes, like the one who posted this video?" So I click on the video, and whoa, this is Pokemon videos with commentary. You know, this was something that I hadn't seen before. Not that I had watched, you know, very many. But, you know, going in and, you know, just detailing, like, this is what I was thinking with this move. It was mind blown. You know, so instantly I kind of become a fan of this guy. Not like hardcore or anything to the point like I'm subscribed, checking his channel every day, you know, for updates or anything like that. I was never quite that crazy. But, you know, there was definitely something I became interested in. And so this happened in probably late August into, I know it happened, I'm pretty sure it happened during the summer. So it was probably late August when this happened before I went back for fall semester. And so at some point I just kind of got the hankering that, you know, I kind of want to do this too. You know, I consider myself to be pretty good. So, yeah, Xerxes' video, it's still up. The how to do roulette plus what webcam do I have. I actually took note of what webcam that is. And I think in that video he actually specifically mentioned Circuit City. They had deals. So I actually get the exact same webcam from Circuit City. And if I didn't have a lot of stuff in the way, I would go over there. It's right over there. I could show you guys. But anyway, I'm not actually using the record right now, as this is widescreen, and the old one is very much not widescreen. Anyway, so I get inspired to do that, and get that camera for Christmas, and so that's Christmas 2008, and so we move now into 2009, and that's when the channel opens. I got the camera, and as soon as I get back on campus, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I guess I don't really know why I wait until I get back on campus, but I do. I guess because I have a little bit more privacy in my dorm suite than I do at home at the time. With there's just not really a good place I can record. Everything's like all open. So anyway, January 8th I think is the first upload on this channel. It's partial 001 against A180, who I mentioned before. You may have seen comment Alakazam 180. Certainly those old videos are of awful mic quality and fairly bad video quality. Definitely really bad mic quality though. But at the same time, I can't really like go back and say, "Oh, this is embarrassing. I'm gonna delete it." You know, it is part of what I've built. So you know, I can't really sit here and be ashamed of it too much, I guess. But anyway, so you know, I post battles, roulettes, standard battles with the ST and RL. I just kind of develop my own little notation for that. And I guess the next big event is March 1st. Around this time, the Shaman event takes place. This is for not the Professor's Letter, because Platinum's hasn't come out yet, I don't think. Or has it? I don't think it's come out yet. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, Platinum is on its way. It's come out in Japan at this point, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think it's quite out in the US yet. It might be. But anyway, this is just for a Shaman. And so, as I mentioned before, Event Tycoon. and I get roughly 50 or so shaman. I'm not quite sure, maybe a little less. But so this time, so I'm going to hold a tournament. I think it's like everyone who participates gets a shaman or something like that. But anyway, so it was called. It was supposed to parody the Tournament of Roses, like the Tournament of Roses parade. I'm actually not sure if that's actually a tournament of any kind. But the Tournament of Great Ideas, and the rules were, what is this? Base stat totals of 540 or above were banned. As well, it was a 3v3 singles, and you had to have at least one grass Pokemon because it revolves around Shaman. So this, to sum it up, it kind of completely flopped. It did eventually get played down to a winner. There were tons of drops. I mean, it's not entirely unheard of for such things to happen with a YouTube tournament, of course. But at some point I had Blah be the Grand Marshal to fill in for me while I was off on spring break and didn't have internet or something. But generally it just was a horrible time, and it kind of started the meme that Kooper is not allowed to host tournaments, and Blah is personally responsible for making sure that that does not happen. So, around this time, Platinum comes out shortly thereafter, and I just decided to stay with Diamond, even though Giratina, I think, is still my favorite legendary, but it's only my favorite legendary in the altered form, the original one, not the snake-like origin form, which is very confusing, by the way. Origin form, but it's not the original form that we saw Giratina in, so whatever. Anyway, so this is... the important thing about Platinum is this is the rise of flashcards and Versus Recorder being used to do stuff. Meanwhile, I just, I really like the way Xerxes did it. What can I say? Webcam, live record. Goodness, we've got some over here. Emote strips. You guys, if you've watched a lot of my vids, have seen these many, many times. And we're going to, of course, continue to do those going forward. Spoilers. Anyway, so yeah, I just never really had any interest in, in fact, for a long time I called the Versus Recorder the BS Recorder because it was the thing that really enabled flashcards, and of course that was something that really made PokeSav and whatnot take off, now that you can just use a ROM. You don't even have to buy an action replay, you just have to have a cheap flashcard imported from somewhere in West Asia, or East, somewhere in Asia, whatever. Anyway, China, whatever. I don't know. Anyway. So, putting that aside, so let's see, we get into, okay, so yeah, that summer, for whatever reason, I don't know why, because the previous summer Wi-Fi did work. I think maybe I just did not have the aircraft, maybe I didn't have internet at all, over this summer, which was very sad, but evidently I did not, because I had to take a summer hiatus from uploading, and then in October, Heart Gold comes out in Japan, and I decided, you know what, this is really cool. Second gen kind of got ruined for me because of that whole hacking thing, so I'm going to import Heart Gold. I kind of like the look of this new Pokewalker thing. By this point, I've taken Japanese 101, and I think possibly 102. So, I know some Japanese, hopefully enough to get through the game. I look at some of the screenshots, and I'm like, okay, it's all in katakana hiragana, there's no kanji, thank you. So I should be able to at least make it through most of it. And, I'd never really imported anything else before. I think I also import, this might actually be over here. Ostatakai Owendan, which is also a one of my really early uploads. Or actually, I imported that the previous year, so I don't know why I said that. But anyway, I do actually have one video from that. It's like my third or fourth, fifth uploaded video. It's pretty horrible. But anyway, so I do a Heart Gold LP. Now this is back when the video length is capped at 10 minutes and 59 seconds. So this series ended up to be like 115 some odd parts. It also kind of got stretched out because I was this was the first of the many I don't want to say intro type things, outro I guess would be a better word, credit sequence montages type things that I wanted to do to cap off an LP. And yeah, with only having 11-minute parts at that point, there wasn't really enough time to do an LP intro that was more than a few seconds long. So anyway, this LP actually has some of my most viewed videos. Like, I'm pretty sure the Snorlax vid is like 100,000 views, something like that. Because apparently people really have a hard time finding the Pokeflute channel in Heart Gold. You just move the thing straight up after you solve the stuff. But anyway, so that was pretty much 2009. Channel got started, and we did our first LP of a Pokemon game. So 2010. Water. 2010 starts off. April 28th is my first battle that I had with Xerxes. At least the first when it was uploaded. It was probably a few days before that. Yeah, I guess as to how Xerxes and I kind of got acquainted, a lot of people have, or not a lot of people, but the question's been asked as to how, for how we got acquainted. I guess when I started commenting on his channel a lot more. I am actually his 5,000th subscriber, which I forget how many he has now. It's well over 10,000, might be over 20,000. I've not really bothered to keep track. But yeah, I know I was sitting there. I was trying to snipe it. It's like, okay, $4.99. I actually had a secondary channel set up to be $4.99. If I saw it was at $4.98, I was gonna go $4.99, 500. But as it turned out, I think it jumped from like $4.97 to $4.99. So boom, 500, and I proceeded to type up some channel comment that YouTube has probably deleted by now, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, after that I started posting a lot more. I don't even know if I posted that much on his videos, but just like around YouTube, and I guess he just took notice of me just having this crazy in-depth knowledge that like people would not bother to go and help someone look up or whatever. So anyway, I guess that's kind of how at some point he PMs me, and we connect on MSN or AIM or whatever it is, and that's how that battle got started. So anyway, so 2010 spring, I started college in 2006 fall. So 2010 I graduate, and my Wi-Fi USB only really worked with my school internet when it was just plugged in on the Ethernet cable. So yeah, that was a problem. I'm moving out of my dorm. I'm probably not going to be moving back into the dorm. I don't know if I'm going to have Wi-Fi ever again. So I'm kind of, distressed over this. And I feel like, oh no, I'm just not going to have Wi-Fi ever again. So, anyway, suffice to say that does not happen. So I start graduate school that fall. And the guy I move in with was actually one of my roommates from undergraduate, and we do in fact have WEP, sufficient Wi-Fi, so I'm able to connect to that. And in fact, I don't even need the USB connector anymore, which is pretty nice. That poor thing. I guess it's now obsolete. But anyway, so the next most significant event is August 2nd, is around, I think, the time the tournament sign-up started, but definitely around that time frame. This is where Xerxes had the Wacko tournament. It was die type, no stab, bad items, mixed tier. I think it was mixed tier under a certain custom mixed tier for the format. It was pretty intense and pretty crazy. But I decided there's another train. I kind of wanted to participate, but I think I was gonna have to leave for one weekend, so I was gonna miss the first round. So ultimately, I decided, I'm not gonna bother participating. But I did end up to become sort of like a judge or official. So I ended up actually getting promoted to admin on the ZAT that was at the bottom of the, DPP team discussion, that old forum. I think it's still up. There was a ZAT at the bottom of it, and ended up getting promoted to admin. I think it was the first admin there besides him, or owner, whatever it's called on ZAT. And yeah, so that was pretty cool. And I was kind of in charge of, whenever he wasn't there, I was in charge, which was pretty nice. But anyway, so that was the community that would later become TPX, which we are still a part of today. So let's see, as far as what's going on the channel during that time, though. During the fall, I do a Nuzlocke of the TCG for Game Boy version. It was kind of a bunch of convoluted rules. Like, you can only battle each person one time. Like, that was supposed to mimic the first encounter in each route. And if a Pokemon got knocked out, you had to remove it from your collection. That was kind of a really funky rule. I'm not quite sure how that would work out if you wanted to do it again. But I was actually able to complete it, which was really nice. And I think that was still, it was okay quality, I guess. I would be okay going back and watching it myself, I suppose. And then that September, that is when Black and White was released in September 2010. And along with this, as much as I loved 4th Gen up to the point, the story mode, I just really didn't feel any connection to it. 3rd Gen, as I mentioned earlier, was the start of everything with Mega Man and Bass, and the start of all that. I really felt a great connection to the Pokemon I met in the story mode of that game. And 3rd Gen is still my favorite assortment of guys. It's probably not my favorite generation, and nor was it my favorite story. But as far as the Pokemon it introduced, by far my favorite. And I just had a really great experience with 3rd Gen. A little bit of that might be because everyone else was leaving it behind, and I stayed with it. So a little bit of, I don't know if it's elitism or whatever with that, but something pertaining to that. So that's one reason 3rd Gen. I am of course really excited about the remakes, but that's for the future. So one thing I really wanted to do with 5th Gen, I looked back and I realized that with 4th Gen, I looked at everything as it was coming out on Cerebi. These are the starters. These are here's the full Pokedex. Revealed. I'm going to use this thing when I get the game. And I just felt like that really put a damper on the game for me. I didn't enjoy the story mode nearly as much as I did with Sapphire. So I decided, I'm just gonna remove myself from that. It's gonna be really hard because obviously the internet and Pokemon is now ubiquitous now. You couldn't even go on any social media site without seeing people post about, new Pokemon, look at this, because all my friends, of course, at that point were also posting about Pokemon. So this is when I started what I call my internet retirement, and I just kind of plugged out from everything. I knew I couldn't get away from the internet completely, of course, due to school, but I just kind of tried to stay away from any site that would, give me Pokemon info or anything like that. So it was kind of sad because all the friends I had made on the Zat, I kind of had to stay away from them and whatnot. But it was just my attempt to enjoy Black and White more. In retrospect, we can probably say that was a silly idea. So that didn't mean, however, that I completely stopped uploading. December 13th was actually the first time I'd ever uploaded any kind of TCG content, which was a game I played with Blah on a site, Trade Cards Online. It's still up. It's a very jankety interface, I guess you could say. It's not actually that dissimilar from Play TCG. If you guys have seen some of the other videos of that, you just drag the cards around. You kind of have to enforce the rules on your own. But it was just bad. We didn't really like it that much, but using some formats I think that never existed. I somehow beat him playing like an actual Archetype deck with some silly deck that I threw together that involved Beautifly. But that video is also pretty awful, so you probably shouldn't go watch that. But anyway, so that was the end of 2010. So started 2011. I actually started out with a failed attempt at a Final Fantasy Tactics 1.3 run. 1.3 is a hard mode plus balance hack of the game by Archaeal at insane difficulty. I would say outside Xerxes, Archaeal is probably my second favorite YouTuber. So yeah, I definitely enjoy a lot of his stuff, and unfortunately was not very good at my first attempt at FFT 1.3. I guess I note this mostly because Malice became one of my good friends, and I believe he first found the channel. Actually, I have a Gengar. You guys can't see. I'll show you this. Actually, I should go and show you the mousepad now. We do have some sort of Pokemon stuff on the podium here, as well as Luigi and Mario. And that probably totally messed up the mic, but whatever. Anyway, there's a Gengar in there if you didn't notice. So anyway, so after that, that attempt failed. I think Maluda 1 or Maluda 2, something like that. I think Maluda 2. So March 9th, I think Black and White came out a few days before them, but I needed some time to kind of upload or get stuff ready to upload. So that's when, I think still one of the greatest projects I did on this channel, White Blind Nuzlocke. I knew how to Nuzlocke. I don't think I'd ever actually done a successful one before. I tried to do one on Ruby, and I think I still messed it up somehow. But this was going to be something really neat. It was going to be a blind Nuzlocke. Knowledge is power, and I was going into this not knowing, even what types these things are. What's this move do? I don't quite know. I guess I can see the power, the type, and the accuracy. But I don't know, is this poke going to be good? Should I use this? So it was something that I think had really never been done before. Because the concept of a Nuzlocke did not really come out until well after 4th Gen was out there. It kind of started out with, people who just mostly did it with emulators and whatnot. But yeah, so, a whole new batch of Pokemon, and really a blind Nuzlocke. As it turned out, it was perfect, because Black and White, as you all know, Black and White 1 anyway, did not have any Pokemon from Gens 1 through 4 in the main story mode, so everything was brand new. And it was definitely a trip. That's definitely one of my favorite LPs. In fact, I would, if I can be a little bit, if I can be a little bit boastful, I would say that's probably one of the best Nuzlocke that's ever been uploaded to YouTube. So I would encourage you to go and watch that. If nothing else, watch the finale. It's pretty dramatic. I don't think you could have scripted it much better. But anyway, so at some point during that time, Gold Rules 2 and Malk, they pester me and like, Coop, please come back. Please come back to TPX. We really miss you. You know, we'll instruct everyone, stay off the spoilers. So I relent and I make my return to TPX, and they all welcome me back, and it's a great feeling. And everyone is really great about accommodating, like, don't say anything about Black and White because Kooper hasn't beaten it yet. He's doing a blind Nuzlocke. It's really important. So that just felt really cool that everyone was really supportive of me doing that, and didn't want to jeopardize that project. And for the most part, it did not get jeopardized, which was really nice. So anyway, that eventually ends. There's also the March Madness tournament, where we had multiple tournaments. I forget, I think it was 4th and 5th gen, I'm not sure, but 4th, of course, was all I really cared about. We'll talk more about 5th competitive in a little bit. So yeah, the March Madness tournament where people played in weekly or daily even, a couple times a week, ZAT tournaments. We would just pop up, 8-man tournaments, whatever. And just, you're placing in those, you got points, and earn enough points, and you get to play in. I think really the cutoff was only like 2 points, so it wasn't hard to get in. But yeah, it was a double elimination tournament, mixed tier. This is where Xerxes' infamous mixed tier team comes in. There's a lot of controversy around that. I believe Makar's video touches more on that. If you've seen that one, this is kind of where the big YouTube divide came in. Xerxes, part of his team got revealed, and there were disputes back and forth. Mostly with the side of YouTube that I never really cared that much for, so I kind of didn't really care. But anyway, so I was able to play in that. I got somewhere towards the bottom of the pack, actually. But I think it was double elimination, and I think I played 3 games, so that probably tells you about how well I did. But anyway, a very interesting fact, I think, the White Blind Nuzlocke, the finale actually went up April 26th, I believe. April 27th, no less, was the day there were tremendous tornadoes that came all across my town and throughout most of the state. And yeah, caused the end of the semester to get canceled. It was very, very harrowing and weird time. But I still think that's so weird that Nuzlocke finale went up the day before that happened. But anyway, so yeah, after that, doesn't make sense. That should have been the year before. Okay, so I guess that was my second year of graduate school. My notes are wrong. So then that fall, that summer is really weird because of stuff and things that I won't get into. Not really Pokemon related, I guess. Anyway, I guess it is somewhat related. My friend who I got the DS for, his apartment actually got completely destroyed, level like rubble everywhere. That's it. And we actually were able to still find his copy of, like, we go digging in the rubble and we still find some of his DS games, and we take them back, plug them in my DS, and they still work. So I believe I actually ended up to get him a DSi to replace his DS, which I was probably still in working order, but it probably got looted. So, oh well. Fortunately, he was fine. He was away from his apartment at the time. But anyway, so moving on to the fall, that's when we have a Battle Kit LP, Fortress Apparel. Still one of the more fun LPs I think that I've done on the channel, and well, we'll save that for a little bit later, I suppose. But anyway, so we do that LP. It's a lot of fun. And September 13th is when I hit 333, mostly off the back of the LPs. But it's funny, that Heart Gold LP was like 100 and something parts because of the 10-minute limit. The Battle Kit LP is like almost 50 parts. So it's pretty clear that the majority of the videos are LPs, despite me still considering battles to be the bread and butter of the channel. But we reached 333 videos, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to play through the first Pokemon game I ever played, just a complete Nuzlocke in one video. It was supposed to be a Nuzlocke. It kind of turned into a Blastoise only, and then I kind of used Zapdos at some point as well, so it wasn't a Blastoise only. So in the end, it was neither a complete it was neither a Nuzlocke nor a Blastoise only. It was a something. But anyway, it was all in one video though. So it was like a 4-hour long video. It's just me. I think I probably eat during. I tend to like to eat during LPs. Just I just do snacking on whatever. But that was my 333 vid milestone, and I guess take a drink. I guess it's kind of a good opportunity to talk about. I've never really cared about subscriber count. Really at all. In fact, the joke is I would like to get my subscriber count back down to 333, and in fact, I would still like to do that, although I think that goal is probably not going to happen, just because I probably have over 333 subscribers who their accounts they don't use them anymore, and so they can't unsubscribe, even if they wanted to. Although I think you can actually go and remove subscriptions if you want to, but I have no way of knowing who's actually active and who's not, so whatever. Anyway. See, I've just never really cared about subscribers or really about viewer demands. I guess that sounds really jerkish, but Makar also had he said in his video he has the same ideology. The videos I make and the stuff I do on this channel they're really about me. It's really just about satisfying my own desire to make videos. I don't know why. Certainly I always enjoy feedback in the form of comments, PMs, whatever, although PM system is kind of silly now. But I've absolutely never cared about views or likes. I've never once said comment, rate, sub, or comment, like, sub. I don't think I've even said comment. Comments are the one thing that I do really like. It's another piece of ideology that I share with Xerxes. It's all about the interaction. I don't care about the numbers. I've never been partnered. I never will be partnered. I don't see the point in putting ads on this channel or anything like that. It's just something I kind of had this aversion to making money off doing anything fun. I don't know why. I feel like if I ever do get partnered, I'll treat this YouTube stuff as a job, and then if it's a job, I'm instantly going to hate it, and then I'm going to stop doing it. So that's just kind of the way I feel about it. I don't feel like I should be compensated monetarily. I just enjoy doing this, and I'm going to continue to do it as long as I enjoy doing it. I don't care if we get single-digit views. I would still produce the same content with single-digit views as I would if we got 1,000-digit views. That's just kind of my stance on the matter. So I don't really care about growing the channel any. I'm satisfied with what it is. Again, if we could get it back down to 333, that would be great. Although at this rate, I think it might be easier to get up to 3,333. You can probably guess what my favorite number is if you guys don't already know. But anyway, so that was an aside that I was going to work in at some point. So I guess that was a good time to get it in. Just never really cared about sub count whatsoever. Views, likes, comments. I like comments. I will say that is one thing. I guess I'm kind of glossing over a lot of the Google taking over YouTube. Everyone who's been through it has been here long enough knows. Every time YouToogle, as I like to call it sometimes, rolls out a new change, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse. And this is especially true with channels. We used to have these nice backgrounds, and you could change all the colors and everything. And it was kind of more like the MySpace, and now it's kind of more like the Facebook, where everyone's channel looks the same. You've got some channel art at the top, and you've got your avatar, and that's it. And it sucks. I think you can drag fields around. That's it. We used to have a background, and then we had sidebar, and then we had like some other thing, and then we had, I forget what it was, and then we had sidebars, and now we have nothing. So bugs me, man. Whatever. Anyway, if you haven't already noticed, we're very much about old school ways and tradition on this channel. So that's why we continue to use the webcam recording. We will continue to use that. I can assure you of that. We will continue to use. We won't be able to use seals anymore, but we're gonna keep using emotes and whatnot, all that good stuff. So anyway, we got to move on with the timeline because this video's already gone on for almost an hour, 10 minutes from an hour. We were trying to get this done under an hour. We might have a chance of doing it. I doubt it. I'm going to shoot now for 75 minutes. Alright, so moving on. So we had the 333 milestone. So October, Breath of Fire 4 LP started. And this is probably the poster child for me and ridiculous ridiculous time taken to complete LPs. This LP would not be completed, I believe, for over a year. There is no justifiable reason why. It just took over a year to fully get posted. So in November, the first TCGO uploads, the official Pokemon trading card game online play, which is, oh my goodness, has been through a lot of trials and tribulations. It's actually in pretty good form right now. There's actually tournaments going on as of the time of this posting, at least alpha testing of them. But you know, it's always been one of those things like it's basically pay to play. It's or the free to play model is it's kind of become a very dominant form factor. Or it's not form factor. I like to use form factor as a buzzword even where it's not appropriate. But anyway, it's a very common mechanism. Whatever, free to play. It's free to try, but if you want to actually do well in it, you have to pay to get cards. Anyway, so we started doing that, and in December, for the first time, I think Pokemon Forever was in theaters. I'm not actually quite sure, but the Victini movie in Japan, they had two movies where they basically flip-flopped everything from black and white, Reshiram and Zekrom. One where Ash befriends Zekrom, one where he befriends Reshiram. And anyway, they put one of the Victini movies in theaters and show the other one on Cartoon Network. So this is pretty cool. I haven't actually been to a movie theater to see a Pokemon movie since early 2000s. So this was the first driving in cars video, which we did a couple more of those after that, going to pre-releases and stuff. I've since kind of held off on doing those, mostly because my pre-releases are a lot more local now. It's less of a trip. But I know a lot of people enjoyed those, so I figured I'd mention it. And then Christmas, the winter 2011 series. So, all my time playing Pokemon in 4th gen, up until now, which now 5th gen has been out, Black and White has been out for, over half a year. I had never once actually sat down and said, I'm going to make a team of 6 Pokemon and put them together. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I need to actually take a pause to plug in the computer. Okay, so we're back. Anyway, where was we? Where was we? That's not the correct grammar. Where were we? So, yeah, we're talking about the Winter 2011 series. So, again, never put a team together, and so this is actually my first time. And it was kind of a train wreck. I wanted to use Gliscor and Empoleon, which is actually a pretty good defensive core. To my credit, it's not bad. I think it was Cayman, another Diamond brother, was talking about it with me on the Zat one day, and I was like, oh, this is, they cover each other pretty well. I'm going to make this the basis of my team. Then I need something to take Bolt Beam, so I threw in Magnezone. I needed a lead, so I threw in Nidoqueen, because that was the only thing I had seen from Xerxes' mixed tier team. That was the only lead Pokemon, and in fact, I think is still the only lead Pokemon I've ever bred and used on 4th as an intentional lead. Everything else is just like, this might be okay to lead. But anyway, so there's that, and then, see, that was 3, 4, there was another Pokemon, I'm pretty sure. There was Splash from one of the Vaporeon, and I needed something to kill things, so I just picked a wall-breaking Lucario. Pretty terrible team, but at least its performance on the field was quite awful. A lot of that had to do with me wanting to make some cutesy design choices, like Aquatail, Aerial Ace, Gliscor. I think the performance later from Gliscor kind of helped to ease that away, but we definitely had some very questionable movesets and decisions on stuff we made in that series. The MVP was a Barrier Magnezone. So yeah, that probably tells you about how successful we were with that. It was kind of an interesting thing though. By the time I had gotten all the games filmed, I had to book it home, and again, I didn't really have very much privacy at home to narrate without people peeking in and like, what are you doing? You people who also make YouTube videos are probably well aware that when you have people home, it's a little bit hard to make videos. It was kind of just that case for me all the time. So what I ended up doing instead was going for a throwback to 2008. I had been doing narration since the very start of the channel in January 2009. Just mirroring Xerxes and everything. Xerxes did do music in a couple of his early videos, but of course, most known for narration. And that was just the thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to do narration. Didn't really want to do music whatsoever. except for maybe like some at the beginning and end, which Xerxes did. Fancy that. But anyway, so the Winter 2011 series was also the first time that I ever really used music in battles on actual uploads. And I paired it with anno-narration, which the idea for that actually came from, I believe, one of Xerxes's... I don't know, I can't remember the number of the battle. Makar, you probably remember the number of the battle. I do remember when it was first posted, it was Pokemon battle number whatever. And wow, I cannot even remember who it was played against. But anyway, it was versus recorded. And like he couldn't edit the file because his movie maker was all messed up, so he just had it uploaded and just basically gave his thought process with annotations. So that's exactly what I did. I just had music in the background, then you had to read the annotations to get the narration, essentially, because I couldn't speak, but I could still type. So that was kind of how that worked out, and it was pretty good. I do really enjoy anno-narrated videos. It allows you to, do some of the things you can with song, put great song choices in there, while at the same time still delivering the thought process, and really just allows you to cut out the clutter when you're trying to stall for time and think of what to say, because you can just not have an annotation on screen where there's nothing to say. It's very obvious what's going on, and just kind of chime in whenever there's something that you feel is actually important to point out. So it's also great practice to do that and then make a narrated version as well, because it helps you to get your thoughts out there, and yeah, just kind of take your time and narrate in chunks, as it were. But anyway, so that was my first foray into anno-narration, and in that regard it was good, but the series as a whole, I still consider it a failure. I believe I actually won half the games, but I just did not enjoy using that team whatsoever. So I was like, nope, alright, we're back to grab bagging it. All my standards, I really, other people call it grab bag. I consider that standard. I never really called it OU, because I feel like OU kind of means you have a tendency to bring more OUs, whereas I would typically bring, maybe four OUs and then 2 from a lower tier. That's usually what I would consider standard for me. I haven't actually done the research on that, and even bringing OU things, sometimes you bring like novelty sets, so you can't really just say, oh, it's an OU. But anyway, so that was the end of 2011, start of 2012. So May 9th, something that I had wanted to do, I can't believe I haven't mentioned it up to this point, Super Blah, C-Man, 2 of, still friends with them, still talk to them on a day-to-day basis. Met them on VG Chat back in 2008. And yeah, so at some point Blah, and I don't remember the which friend of his helped him out getting it started, but it was Roulette Nuzlocke, a randomizer, which now I think probably everyone's familiar with, where you encounter random things. Since then there's been a way crazier randomizer where they randomize types and moves and everything, but at the time it was just randomize which Pokemon appear in which routes. And, you can get things like you can catch a Lugia in Route 101, things like that. But I had wanted to do it for a long time, and I guess unfortunately I kind of just got stalled out of doing it. Never really had the motivation to do it until 2012 in May. And yeah, by that point, other people have done it. Of course, I will say roulette version, Nuzlocke roulettes are, I guess they don't have to be Nuzlocks, but just typically that's the way they're expected to be. Randomizer versions, I guess, yeah, randomizer, I guess, is the better way to say it if it's not Nuzlocke Roulette. That was just the title that Blah gave it, and since I believe he originated the concept, actually, I'd still call it Nuzlocke Roulette. Yeah, those are very popular, and for good reason, because, of course, they change up the game. Every LP is different, despite it being the same game, whereas, typically you don't want to watch 2 LPs of the same game by different people, because they're still playing through the same game. But a randomizer game, it's going to be a little bit of a different game, because they're going to have different stuff they use, different stuff they fight. So it keeps it entertaining. It's definitely a very good thing to upload, I would say. At least you can kind of still make it uniquely your game. But anyway, so I meant to do it much earlier. It would have been like one of the first ones up on YouTube, but unfortunately, by the time I finally started doing it, a lot of people had done it. So. Anyway, I definitely enjoyed doing that, but once again, just like Breath of Fire 4, that did not end for over a year. So anyway, June 12th of that year, that's where I hit my next milestone. My milestones, if you've noticed, are by videos that I've posted, not by subscriptions or anything like that. You know, a lot of people do subscriber specials for 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, whatever. I don't pay attention to that, and I just do it based on how many videos I've posted, because that's the work that I've done. Seems very narcissistic, but you know, I don't mean to devalue my appreciation for you guys liking the videos I put out. You know, I definitely enjoy talking with you guys in comments, criticism, compliments, all that stuff. Definitely take it to heart. But in the end, I do make videos expressly for me. So if you guys, you know, all want to leave and do stuff, you know, and then, you know, you want to come back and check later, I'll still be here, because, you know, as long as I enjoy doing it. So I guess we probably didn't need to say that again, but hit upon another milestone video. So that was Mega Man 4. You know, we'd had the Mega Man nicknames going on the channel for a very long time, and had actually never posted any Mega Man content. So I felt like that was a good time. Mega Man 4 was always my favorite one on the NES. I think it was like a video rental store that was going out of business, and we picked up Mega Man 1, 2, and 4. Unfortunately, I had to skip 3 because they did not have it, which is too bad. I might have liked 3 better, but really liked the Charge Buster from 4, and I think that was the main thing. I really liked charging the Buster, and 4 had a, well, at least you didn't lose charge if you got hit in 4, so I like that aspect of it. But you know, I've always enjoyed the charge shot. It's really sad when they took that away in Mega Man 9 and 10. And they gave it to Proto Man, though, who I kind of like better. But So that was what I decided to play for my 500 special. I think 750 has now passed, so I guess 1000 is going to be my next video special. But anyway, so let's see, what are our next events here? So July and August, that's when we have the TPX draft tournament. And I have some success with that. You know, I felt like I drafted a pretty good team, but it kind of fell apart. I wasn't able to make the playoffs or anything like that. I think I went roughly even. Actually, I think the only win I remember was over Makar in probably one of the best games we played, where he was absolutely in control, and I just brought it back with an epic Togekiss sweep at the end. But let's see, September 9th. It's when Standard 50, which to date is still our latest battle that has adopted the ST label. I kind of wanted to leave it at Standard 50 because it was a really good game between myself and Cayman. You know, I felt like, you know, 50, that's a nice round number. You know, we probably got 6th gen on the way. I forget if it had actually been announced in 2012, that fall 2012. I feel like it might have been. But anyway, I felt like that was a pretty good place to leave it, so I didn't really want to post any more of those unless I got like a lot of them. So to date, that's still been the latest one. But then that fall, November 29th is when I think that video went up. I kind of had, I guess you would describe it as a quarter-life crisis. Not really going to get into too much of what the details were, but you know, I kind of been going, I guess it was mostly academic burnout. You know, I'd been going to school, you know, now I'm approaching the end of graduate school, ever since kindergarten with no breaks, and I was just, you know, I was kind of just all about school, and now it's like school's about to end, so I was just questioning everything, I guess. But anyway, a little bit of a quarter-life crisis, I guess you could call it right there. And as a result, I just kind of had to shut off from YouTube for a while. And eventually I come back, coming into 2013. I actually ended up taking partly because of graduate school, you know, we have I've already taken that, and there's very slim offerings each semester, so I just kind of ended up taking a sabbatical from school, which is kind of nice, you know, give some time to, you know, do other stuff, I guess, get back into making videos more regularly, I suppose. During this time, TCGO really becomes the bulk content of the channel. You know, 5th gen is completely taken over at this point. You know, Black and White 2 has come out. I really considered doing a sequel to the White 1, Blind Nuzlocke. I don't think I've ever actually told this to anyone else before, so here we go with some exclusive content in this video. It was going to be based on, well, I don't want to say that because that would be spoilers, but anyway, what it would be is I was going to play through White 2, and I was going to actually, because I didn't actually release the Pokemon that died in White 1, it was going to be a journey of regeneration, essentially, I was going to have to play through White 2 with the Pokemon that died in White 1. And if any of them died at any point, I think there were like save points after every gym leader. I just kind of blacked out and had to restart from the previous gym win. And then like every so often I would get some of them died, like Rebecca, my dear Chelsea. I still hate N because he killed my Pidove. Those I would get towards the beginning, and then I would pick up the ones toward the end, Blair, Kooper, all those. I guess that's now spoilers if you didn't watch White 1, Blind Nuzlocke, but oh well, sorry. So yeah, that was going to be what the plan was for that, and it never really fell through. It was going to be, there were going to be lots of interesting things going on with it as far as voice acting. I don't know. There were going to be lots of graphics and stuff made for it. I think it was going to be, I don't know what it was going to be. It was going to be pretty awesome, but unfortunately never panned out. So anyway, so lots of TCGO. June 18th is when I finally got off my keister and put an end to Emerald Nuzlocke Roulette and Breath of Fire 4. They had just kind of been sitting there saying, play the last 20 minutes of the game, please. And finally I did. And so yeah, that summer was kind of really just a lazy summer, I guess. I wasn't really doing much of anything but sitting around, and I couldn't even really tell you what I was doing right then. It was just taking it easy, I suppose. Anyway, so in August, this is when Makar himself is leaving for college, and we have, at the time, we intend to be our last 4th generation battle. 4th gen has pretty much died off everywhere. TPX is the only community that's really playing it with any degree of regularity. As far as actual Wi-Fi goes, of course, there's Showdown and whatnot. I've never really cared for Showdown or any of the simulators myself. The joke is that I don't play on simulators because I can't breed on simulators. And I say that's a joke, but it's actually kind of true. So, yeah, I can't use the Pokemon that I actually raised in the game to battle with. I can import their stats, but it's just not the same. Anyone who's played both can tell you there's a difference. You don't feel as into it, I think, is the thing on simulators. So you definitely, I think, can feel more focused on Wi-Fi. I feel like it's more of an event, something that you need to take seriously and show respect to. Whereas simulators, oh whatever, oh you're a troll for using that set, whatever. Anyway, never really cared for simulators myself. But anyway, so that was supposed to be our last 4th gen battle, and we had a time. Marathon, 3 hours. I think we were just stalling just because we did not want to let 4th gen go. And we just kind of stalled it out about as long as we could. He actually needed to go to bed, like 5 hours, I think, after that battle ended. He had to hop a train or whatever it was to go off to college. So we ended up to post that. We both posted it the day before X and Y came out because I guess now that we're jumping into the segment where 6th gen's coming out, I guess just briefly some of the reasons why I never really touched 5th gen. I really enjoyed my White Blind Nuzlocke, but other than that, I just really never got into competitive play for it for a couple of reasons. First off, level 100 all went away, and when that went away, it pretty much made hacking mandatory. Pokesav, Pokegen, whatever, is you now had to level everything up to level 100 manually. Now there are nice ways to do it with Gear Station and whatnot, but even so, just not having level 100 all, and not being able to transport over items from Emerald and whatnot, it just really it was a major blow to trying to play the game legitimately, and that was just not the kind of thing I wanted to be associated with. I just felt like 5th was hack mandatory, and that was one of the things. Also, people I've talked to pretty much agree 5th gen had the worst metagame of any generation, and that includes Gen 2, despite being super duper stally and taking forever because rest talk actually restores your HP if you sleep talk a rest, among other things, like the weird way Roar and Whirlwind work, where if you're slower you actually move first. It's just weird, I guess, because it's negative priority. 2 negatives make a positive, whatever. Anyway, so just the metagame itself was pretty bad. Weather teams was pretty much all it was, in my view and a lot of people's view, and it was just 4th gen was just better, and there was really no reason to play 5th that I felt like there weren't. I for the most part, I didn't like the 5th gen guys. I think Gen 2 is actually still my least favorite assortment overall, but 5th gen is definitely pretty close to there in being bottom of the barrel. There are a few 5th gen guys I like, but I think probably for as many as it introduced, it definitely it was bad. 5th gen was bad, and it was bad, and I don't even really want to talk about it anymore. I will say it did have the best story mode, and Black White 2 Male is my favorite protagonist, just in terms of design, because he looks like Takato from Digimon Tamers. If you guys have seen my TCGO intros, you know I'm a pretty big fan of Takato, and I've got a D arc somewhere around here as well, the Season 3 Digivice. But anyway, yeah, so that's why we never really got into 5th gen. Hack mandatory, didn't really care for the new guys. Game mechanics were changed, like explosion. That wasn't a big, explosion wasn't really a big one for me, but it was like every change that 5th made was just awful. It was just terrible, and I saw no reason that I would enjoy playing it, so I just never did. And then 6 came out, and I said, you know, we're gonna play 6 even if it sucks. And lo and behold, 6 fixes doesn't fix everything that 5th broke, but it fixed about half the things. So anyway, so okay, there's that. So I guess yeah, we're nearing up on some things that have happened recently. September we had Mega Man Unlimited, which outside the Mega Man 4 LP or special was the first real Mega Man thing we've done, which is not even an official Mega Man game, but it definitely is as good, if not better, than most of them. And then in October, for the first time, worldwide release, so there's no need to import or anything. That was another thing too with Black and White, was if people didn't even really need to buy the game because they just already had flashcards starting with Platinum, and you just downloaded the translated ROM, and that was it. So whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Pokemon X, no centers run. By this point, and still to this day, I'm kind of off the Nuzlocke train. I know a lot of people did point out, you know, constructively or not, really the way I did, you know, Nuzlocks, and especially that one in 5th, and especially in 3rd as well with the Nuzlocke Roulette, I just kind of grind, and then stall and don't die. I'm just way too over defensive when Nuzlocks, and I just felt like that was not very entertaining to watch. You know, I feel like Nuzlocks are more entertaining when, you know, the crucial pokes that are part of your team do die, and I just never let that happen because I was very defensive with them. So I just felt like, you know, me playing Nuzlocke is just not a good thing. So I decided that at that point I was never going to do a Nuzlocke again, and at this point I still plan on continuing that. I will never do another. At least I will never LP another, and if I'm not LPing, I'm probably not going to bother doing one at all. So I'm pretty much off the Nuzlocke train, I believe, for good, at least for the full Nuzlocke train. Maybe a half lock, but you know, where you only do one of the 2 rules. But anyway, so I decided to do a run of Pokemon X first playthrough, not really blind, because, you know, probably over half the Kalos Pokedex got spoiled before, like officially spoiled. Very few things were actually brand new. I think Carbink was actually the first poke that I saw that I had no knowledge of it or any of its evolutions before. So for the most part I knew that, but a lot of the gyms and stuff, those were new. So it was interesting playing through it without using Pokemon Centers. There were a lot of free heals and whatnot, and I did still allow Pokemarts, so that made the game really easy. If Pokemon Z ever comes out, I might do a no centers, no marts for that. I'm kind of considering for Alpha Sapphire as well, but we'll see. That's not something I've mulled over too much. So yeah, so moving on to 6th, we had my first foray into 6th gen. Now a lot of people, you know, right after the game came out, of course we did not have Pokemon Bank until early the next year, 2014. You know, right away people were like, alright, let's go ahead and start breeding stuff, you know, and start having Wi-Fi battles. For me, because I knew, you know, I wasn't going to get, of course, don't plan to hack, you know, I wanted to make sure I get, you know, a couple of Xerneas, because, you know, who knows how long it's going to be until Z comes out, and probably is going to let you catch both. So, you know, I decided I wanted to do a couple of runs of X, and so that's what I did. I just kind of did my first playthrough of X, and had my first playthrough of Y, and then played X a few more times to get a couple more Xerneas. And I actually set out to do something that I had never done before, which was breed a shiny Gardevoir to play through story mode with. And I was actually able to do that, I think, without Masada method. I got it after like 300 eggs, which without Masada method or anything like that, shiny charm, none of that stuff, that's actually pretty mind-blowing that I got it after about 300 eggs. I was there ready to do 10,000, but I got it after like 300, so it was pretty special. And I used that for my soloed the game with just that Ralts. It was definitely level 100 Mega Gardevoir by the end of everything on that run. But yeah, so the Winter 2013 series, that series was by far more successful. I had a lot more fun with that team. Those videos aren't too old, so you can definitely go back and watch those. They are recorded with not quite as good quality as my current webcam, but I enjoyed the series. Had a lot of great games. Some of the favorite games I've ever played actually came in that series, and really that's been about the extent of my serious 6th gen play up to this point. Which is funny when people have had like hundreds of posted battles in some other channels, and I've had what, like 7 or 8. No, I think I had about 10 in that series. So but by all accounts, I probably should be considered inexperienced at 6 still. But anyway, so moving on through 2014. So I went back to school this past semester, and I believe it's now done. I hope so. And the webcam that I don't have a mirror. But the webcam we're actually using right now, I got a new webcam. First upgrade to a webcam I've gotten since 2009 when we started. So that was pretty nice. I got it for fairly cheap considering how much better it is. It can zoom and it has manual focus. This blew my mind. Anyway, and so I guess the most recent video series we completed was Rocco-chan, which is another Mega Man clone type thing. A couple people really enjoyed that, so pleased to see that. And that pretty much catches us up to today. So how long have we been going again? Oh my goodness. I knew this was going to be an hour and a half. Oh well. Well, we'll try to wrap it up in another 30 minutes or so. No, it's not going to be that long. So I guess, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's I feel like I've spelled out my life story here in about an hour, but it pretty much has been my YouTube life story. So yeah, I guess we'll just name off a couple people here, some shout-outs, if you will. Psych180, has probably been with me the longest out of anyone on the internet that's still with me. From VG Chat, we've got Super Blah, probably my most successful friend from that era. He's certainly got his channel's gotten really big compared to where it was when he first started and was actually reluctant to do narrations. That's what I think was funny, was a lot of people were reluctant to do narrations. I was like, nah, we're just gonna start off doing this. That's what we're gonna do, because that's what I wanted to do. So that's what I did. C-Man, I think C-Man probably has the record for most number of times battled on the channel. Mr. Dirt, Mystery Man, Alex or Alejandro. A couple of you will hopefully remember that guy. The darn Latino, as we like to call him. That's about it from VG Chat. I'm sure there's a lot more that I'm leaving off. TPX, you guys are probably the ones who are still with me right here watching at this point. Of course, Makar, Cayman, Diamond Brothers, Xerxes himself. I can't stress how amazing that was. That the guy that's like I tried to model the channel after, like actually ended up becoming one of my good friends. So that was really cool to see. Like here's this guy who's like at hero status, and like now I'm like on peer status with him, which is really sweet. Goodness, Kote, Malk, Gold, Tubes, goodness, everyone. I should probably just like put a list off here to the side of like everyone's name, and it would probably still fill the entire thing up, if not more. But yeah, I guess that pretty much is it for shoutouts. I could probably sit here for another minute or two listing off names, but unfortunately I have no list before me, so I cannot read off names. Anyway, so take a drink. And plans for the future. So the next couple things that are going to be coming up are the last few roulettes and standards I had in 4th gen. Unfortunately, it is only a few. It's only about, I'd say, 5 or so total between roulettes and standards, but we tried to make them as good as we could. And after that, We recently finished up a tournament. It's the TPX, the Pokemon Zat. We're just kind of reduced to a Skype group at some point. I guess I kind of left that out too. At some point, the Zat kind of went belly up. It wasn't really anything we did. It was kind of just Zat is just inherently unstable sometimes, deleting backgrounds, deleting people's avatars, sometimes just not working. And so, ultimately we just moved into Skype so we can, do group calls and stuff too. But yeah, so, as a community, we had a 4th Gen finale tournament, which is standard mixed tier, 2 OUBL, 2 UU, 2 NU. We just used small gun tiers because, I guess, fine, whatever. I guess I can make that other side. I have never really bothered to follow small gun rules or tiers. If the way I play happens to overlap it, cool. But, I've never once banned Garchomp or Salamence or any of those guys. I've always welcomed them in 4th Gen, even after they were banned, so to say. Whereas things like Deoxys and whatnot, I've kind of always banned, as well as Event Claws, which I will end up breaking. End up breaking. That sounds redundant. In some of these final standards, as I actually bring a Jirachi. It's shocking. In at least 1 or 2 of the battles, I bring a Jirachi anyway. Possibly no, I don't think I bring a Celebi. But anyway, I've kind of just always played by those own rules, and for the most part, there hasn't been any big discrepancies with that. So, yeah, I have never really paid attention to Smogon. I understand they banned Swagger recently. I'm not like I would like to use Swagger just to spite them, but Swagger's not a good move, so I'm not gonna bother. Anyway, so yeah, that's an aside. And we're jumping back to the main thread. So those are actually going to be the last 4th Gen uploads that we have, are the ones from that tournament. It was just round robin. We did that structure. We were hoping to have a YouTube-wide tournament that Xerxes organized on his channel, since his channel is probably or I guess I should say now was, as Wi-Fi has already left us, the last bastion for 4th Gen, and of course it's now gone. We were hoping to maybe organize something really big, 128 or so some odd players, hopefully bring back some of the old greats, like maybe we could reach out to ZMT, TSP, all those guys, but unfortunately that fell through. But at the very least, we were able to have a TPX tournament. We just had a bunch of people registered in, and it was just everyone played everyone. Unfortunately, a lot of people did have to drop due to their Wi-Fi situation or whatever, but at least they tried. And in the end, I think we wound up with about 9 people towards the end. So there should be about 8 games of round robin from that. And we'll see how far I go. That's I'm not gonna spoil anything. Based on my past tournament records, we can probably expect me to go about 3-6 is what I would be hoping for. But we'll certainly see. I hope you guys will be interested in that. And all these should be coming up before the end of the month, I think is my goal. May 31st is when the last 4th Gen video will go up on this channel. So outside that, as far as other things that are going to be played, we are going to be playing Battle Kid 2 sometime this summer. I've had that game since, let me check these notes, because it was around the time of that quarter life crisis, since fall 2012. I've had that game. It is still, I'm looking at it right now. It's wanting to go inside my NES, which is right behind the camera, actually. That is going to get played this summer. So those of you who were fans of the first Battle Kid 2 LP, or the first Battle Kid LP, some of the Mega Man stuff, hopefully you'll look forward to that. Yeah, I think that's about it as far as other plans for uploads. Besides, so yeah, we also had a little bit of, now, I hate social media just as a rule. A couple months back, I guess, actually, Xerxes finally opened the Twitter. I've always hated Twitter. I still hate Twitter. I opened the Twitter. It's just at Kooper Koushiro, the same as the channel name, so you guys can just copy and paste that if for some reason you're into Twitter. I feel like the people who watch a lot of these videos probably are like me in some way and thus don't care for Twitter, but maybe they do. Anyway, so that's there. I don't really use it much at all, if ever, so don't expect too much from it. But the other big announcement that I haven't actually hinted at, a couple of you probably already know, but so it's a thing that Magnitude started a couple months ago. It's called the Global Battle Association, GBA, And for those of you who watched some of the big draft video I did, it's kind of like that, but it's way expanded. If you consider that to be a single season kind of draft where people just take turns, I pick this, like an alternating order snake draft type thing, so at the end of the snake gets 2 picks in a row, kind of like in sports. It's kind of like that, whatever you draft, that's the only Pokemon you can use, and only you can use them, and anything that gets undrafted, just can't be used by anyone. And every time you go in to play against someone, you know what Pokemon they've got that they could bring against you. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like any other draft format, I guess, like that. But it's more of a franchise mode where we go from season to season. Drafts happen for multiple seasons. And every team is a sports team pun. Like there's the Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA team, and Magnitude's team is the Milwaukee Sawsbucks. Other sports puns like that. Chicago Bulls, Chicago Grand Bulls. I don't think this is one yet, but I feel like it will be soon. Colorado Avalanche, Colorado Avalugs, things like that. And the team that we are going to be playing as in the GBA, and I believe this is starting. We've already had the draft. We have not made public all the draft picks yet, so as those videos get made for hyping up the draft, there will be more videos about the GBA specifically later if you want to know more about it. We'll also have links to the WordPress. It's going to get replaced by an actual website sometime in the near future, but we will have links to the WordPress. We definitely have a lot of interesting things planned for that, so I hope you'll be interested for that. That's probably going to be the bulk of my 6th Gen uploads for at least a little while. Hopefully I can find more places to get battles. Definitely, if you guys want to follow the Twitter and do things like that, or just send PMs the old-fashioned way, I don't care. Any of you who would like to battle, absolutely shoot PMs at me. I don't have much to do these days, I feel like, so at least right now I'm still off job hunting now. So yeah, definitely if you want to battle on 6th Gen. I don't have a ton of guys bred yet still, but we are getting more made, and we are going to be ramping that up. One thing I am going to attempt to do this generation is finish out Team Mega, because Team Gen 7 I plan to move on to doing Team Mega X with the X series. We're going to be doing Mavericks, also stuff from the Zero series, possibly Star Force, possibly not. But yeah, so that's going to be my main goal this generation, is to get everything bred, at least one copy of it. So hopefully we'll have a lot of pokes bred for you guys to use, so that I can use against you. But anyway, so yeah, we've got 10 Pokemon plus 1 Mega, and hopefully you guys will be getting acquainted with those in the near future. But anyway, the team that we're going to be representing, many of you know her as my girlfriend, is the Utah Jasmine. You guys probably can't see the sticker on my koozie here. I'll pop it up big over here somewhere. We are the Utah Jasmine. Jasmine, who's going to be on screen right now behind her desk, is the owner of the organization, and I am the head coach, Kooper Koushiro. And we're going to have other videos about this, press conferences, all that sort of thing. But I hope you guys are going to look forward to that. And I guess that's really going to about wrap it up. I could turn this more into a GBA announcement video, but I'd really rather have that as its own vid. So if you guys are interested in that, then certainly check back for that. But yeah, that's going to be what's in the future, just a brief recap. The last couple roulettes and standards are going to be posted. Following that, there's going to be the tournament, and then whenever that ends, that's it for 4th Gen. I understand there are attempts being made to have private servers done. I think, though, for the most part, that requires either a patched ROM, which requires a flash cart, which instantly invalidates that for me, or an action replay to be used to patch your game. I do actually have an action replay, believe it or not. I picked it up for, it was like half price somewhere, and I was like, this would be good to make a video of destroying it. That was literally my logic for picking it up. So, in theory, I could still break that thing out and use it, but I would really rather not. So yeah, for the most part, I'm very satisfied with the 4th Gen stuff we've done on this channel, and yeah, just not really interested in playing it anymore, I guess. I mean, that seems really harsh to say, but yeah, I think I've laid it to rest, and I'm comfortable with its passing. It's kind of like a loved one who's, they've passed on, and you're okay with it. your grieving period's over and you're ready to move on. So that's just kind of how 4th Gen is. It was a great part of my life, and I know for a lot of people, the last couple days have been very emotional because they're not moving forward into 6th Gen. They may or may not have played 5th. 4th was kind of it, and this is kind of it for them in Pokemon, at least competitive Pokemon. So yeah, I'm happy that I was able to kind of let it go because I knew that I still had a lot of Pokemon left to play in me. But for a lot of people, and maybe some of you guys, 4th Gen was kind of it for you. What's your name? Press A to die. I know you're kind of like me. Always play legit and always strongly preferred 4th, and never really got into 5th. I know you said you weren't moving into 6th, so people like that, their Pokemon career is kind of over, and I feel blessed that mine is still going to be going underway, and in fact maybe kicking into the best it's ever been. As I definitely feel like some of these last couple games I played towards the best that I've ever played. So hopefully we're just getting started, and yeah, hopefully it's going to be a lot to look forward to. So thank you guys for watching this way over an hour and 30-minute video. But yeah, thank you guys for your patience. Again, we're going to still be using all the same stuff, all the classics. We're very much, again, rooted in tradition and whatnot on this channel, so you can always expect more of the same, and you guys can leave and come back, and hopefully I'll still be here, still doing what I do. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate your viewership. Even though I don't care about the actual number of views, but I still appreciate you guys. So thank you guys for watching or listening to this. If you decide, let's minimize that because this is really long. And hopefully you got a lot of homework or something done while watching this. But anyway, I'll see you guys for the next couple videos. It's going to be the last bit of 4th Gen, and then moving into 6th. And yeah, still proud to say we never played 5th Gen on Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's going to be it. Just rambling, bad at conclusions, just like Xerxes. Imagine that. So we'll just leave it off with our famous catchphrase. Later days.